Hi everyone, this is Shreyank Siddharth and welcome to the course Jetpack Compose. This course was originally published in the year 2020. Since then, a lot of changes occurred in the Jetpack Compose ecosystem as well as in Android. But don't you worry. I have gone through each episode of this course and have made sure the source code of each episode is working fine and is up to date. Of course, the core concepts of this course still remains the same. You would find updates in the downloadable course materials, such as update in the Gradle plugin and Gradle version, so you won't face any build errors while importing the starter project or any other episodes project in your latest Android Studio. Use latest Kotlin and Android version, and of course the latest project dependencies. And due to this update, you will find teeny tiny changes in the project's source code. For example, replace the deprecated code such as onBackPressed function with the new one. Replace coil image composable function with its alternative. And of course, many more. So before you watch any episode, make sure to read author's notes which is present just below the video. This would make your journey seamless and you will be able to make the most out of this course. So yes, that's it from my side. Sit back and enjoy the course.
Every single application you build needs to have a user interface. Otherwise, the users won't be able to use it. It's not just important that you have an interface, it's also important that it's visually appealing and that you build components that have a reusable design system. Most applications use the same style for their components to be consistent. It helps users navigate the app and it helps developers develop them, as you don't have to build 10 or 20 different complex components, you just need 3 or 4 that you use all over. However, the UI toolkit Android has been using for years is not that helpful when it comes to reusability. The issue is that the UI definition and logic are completely separate entities for the most part. You define the UI or the layouts of your screen in XML, but the logic and behavior of the components you built is defined through Kotlin or Java code. This means you have to connect the XML definition with the Kotlin code just to make things work. This is very tedious and generates a lot of boilerplate code, as you can't just copy over the components you built to a different screen, or a different project even. So this means you have to learn 2 or 3 languages just to write one screen. And for that one screen you often need to define 2 or 3 or even more files just to make it work, and build the code in a clean way. That's a lot of overhead for each developer, and tons of boilerplate code you need to write. And finally, the UI toolkit we currently use, with views and view groups and lots of other things, is so old. It's over 10 years old and every year brought new features and tons of new issues, API challenges and limitation, and deprecated code. If you ever open the View class from Android, you'd notice how many thousands of lines of code it has. Or if you open a user-facing component such as a button or an edit text, you'll see how many layers of inheritance those classes have. This just shows how poorly designed the system was, or rather how quickly it was developed without thinking about optimizations and composition over inheritance. It would be awesome if there was a reusable UI framework in Android that favors composition and lets you write your UI all in the same language as your business logic, while being optimized and beautiful. That's just too much to ask for, right? Not anymore. Fast forward to 2019 and 2020, there's a new player in the UI toolkit town, called Jetpack Compose. Jetpack Compose is a fully Kotlin-based DSL-like set of fresh components that let you develop your apps in a beautiful, reusable, and fast way. At the heart of Compose lie composable functions. Such functions let the special Kotlin compiler know that you're building UI components, which lets you preview them directly in Android Studio. Every composable function uses the composable annotation, and you can only use compose within such functions. Similar to how you can only call suspend functions within coroutines or other suspend functions. This limits the toolkit to be used only within itself, promoting safety in your apps. Additionally, composable functions are declarative by nature, meaning you don't tell the UI to show data, to change or add something new to the tree. You instead create a declarative definition which tells the UI how to draw itself. Within it, you also define how different states in the UI should be handled, and it automatically lets the system adapt to the state. You'll learn more about it later, but it says that Jetpack Compose UI is a function of state. meaning anytime the state changes, so does the Compose UI. I hope you're really excited to learn about Compose. You'll be learning lots about the topic in this course by building an awesome app called Librarian. Librarian is an app where you can add your books to a library and review them. This app was also featured in the Room Database Getting Started course, so if you want to learn more about how it works, make sure to check out that course. To open the Librarian project, you need Android Studio 4.2 Canary 8 or higher, as Compose and its compiler are still alpha features. Because Compose and the Canary versions of Android Studio are developing quickly, the course version might be different from the newest, but things should work fine even if you use a newer version. After you open the project, you should see the following structure. For the most part, you'll only be working within the UI package. In the last part of the course, you'll also add some architecture and expand the DI package, which stands for dependency injection. As the application's logic is fully built and prepared for you, there's not much to explain, but if you want to dive into the repository, database, and model packages, check out the previously mentioned Room Database Getting Started course. The app's UI, however, has several features. You can add books, reading lists, and book reviews for starters. After that, you have the books, reviews, and reading lists fragments on the main screen used to show this data. The rest of the features, such as the book review details and reading list details, are used to show the details of those pieces of data, and let you add even more specialized data, such as reading entries to your reviews and books to your reading lists. You can have as many books, reviews, and reading lists as you want. You will also be able to delete them, filter the books, and add more items to each of the lists. Pretty cool. If you open the final project of the course, you'll see how all of this nicely comes together in a clean and beautiful app that works with both dark and light modes. But I'm sure you're just dying to dive into the code and Jetpack Compose, so let's do that in the next episode.